पेपर, ठीक है, उस पे सेव भी कर देता हूँ. अच्छा, we're going to start with doing some complete past papers. So this one is kind of इसको लिख भी देते हैं कि this is कहाँ पे है? So the one that we are doing at the moment, that's this one, 4-2. Starting with the first part, 78% of air, quickly, okay, let's try and be very quick. 78% of air, clean, dry air, what is it?
Nitrogen.
Okay, that's nitrogen. Whose electronic configuration is 281? Keep a periodic table with you. 281, 281. It's got a total of 11 electrons.
Sodium.
Here, that's sodium. Is extracted from hematite. What is hematite?
Iron.
Okay, that's iron.
Ore of iron.
Iron ore hota hai, that's hematite. It's Fe2O3 with a lot of impurities. The main impurity is actually sand, SiO2. ठीक है, वो अभी बाद में हम cover करेंगे इसमें metals में, ठीक है, but this is iron. Forms an oxide with a giant covalent structure.
Carbon.
Carbon oxide का giant covalent structure होता है.
नहीं sorry. Silicon.
Silicon oxide is a giant covalent structure. ठीक है, silicon oxide is that silicon is bonded to 4 oxygen atoms, and then those oxygen atoms are further bonded to silicon atoms, which are then again bonded to oxygen atoms. So वो diamond की तरह होता है, it just continues endlessly. अच्छा, is the gas with the slowest rate of diffusion at room temperature? First 30 में कौन सी gas होगी with the कौन सा element होगा?
The
And it
last
has
the last one, because it has the highest, largest M1.
एक से pure table क्या है? Just a second. ये लोग इसके pure table से काम चलाते हैं. Hold on 1 second. So first 30, where does the 30 end? 30 ends over here. यहाँ पे ना. So argon होगी ना. Argon is the one, that's the gas. Okay, these are metals, right? Potassium to zinc, they're all metals up till 30. So argon is the heaviest gas. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
The first 30 में ना, 30 elements. Argon is going to be it's going to be a gas with the slowest rate of diffusion. Anhydrous chloride, which turns pink when water is added. ये water का test भी होता है.
Copper chloride.
Cobalt chloride. ठीक है, cobalt chloride जो है, that's a test for water, and that's ये जो मैंने वो salt का नहीं दिया, उसका ना लिखा हुआ अभी. Cobalt chloride is if it's with water, it's pink. If it's without water, it's blue in color. So aqua signs which form a white precipitate when added to silver ions. ये कौन सा test होता है silver ions वाला? But I'll open the salt analysis sheet. कहाँ पे? O1. This one. अच्छा, silver वाला test कौन सा test है? Silver nitrate, white precipitate. Silver nitrate, white precipitate, that's a test for
Chloride.
Chloride ions. ठीक है. So remember these 2 pages. You have to memorize these 2 pages. So that's a test for chlorine. Blue hydroxide, which dissolves in aqueous ammonia. What is that? Blue. Who's blue? EBUC data sheet. Blue.
Copper.
Copper, it forms a light blue precipitate which is soluble in excess ammonia, right? Giving a dark blue solution. So that is copper. Blue होती है copper, ठीक है? So that's copper. So basically we're talking about copper hydroxide. last one is added to molten iron to remove impurities in the steel making process. Any idea? What is added to molten iron to remove impurities? The extraction of iron, and we'll do that extraction of iron in metals. Lime is added to molten iron to remove impurities. तो क्या ऐड करते हैं? मुझे तो आयरन के अंदर ना, what is, how do you extract? Actually, let me just go through extraction of iron very quickly. ठीक है, very quickly. ठीक है, extraction of iron is you have hematite, right? Which is the iron ore, and you've got some sand in it, right? तो आप क्या करते हो? Blast furnace. ठीक है, remember, you have to remember this whole process. There are 4 processes that have to be remembered. तो Fe2O3 और sand जो है ना, that as a Fe2O3 and sand is mixed in the blast furnace. और क्या mix करते हैं? What are the other 2 ingredients that are mixed into it? How does
limestone, I think.
Limestone बाद में they mix it with coke. Coke is carbon, right? And they blast hot air through it. ठीक है, they blast hot air through it. कभी कभी वो when you iron smiths होते हैं movies के अंदर, the blasting air into the furnace, right? So that is why coke burns. It catches fire, it starts burning. So it burns and it produces what? Produces heat. So because of that heat, the mixture melts. Then because there's so much coke that some of the coke also reacts with carbon dioxide and there's incomplete combustion and it turns into carbon monoxide as well. Then what coke does is, because it's more reactive than iron, what it does is that it takes away the oxidants from iron and molten iron is formed. Carbon monoxide does exactly the same as well, that it goes and reacts with hematite and takes away the oxidants and iron is formed. So that is reduction of hematite or iron oxide, and that results in the production of Fe. And then there's another thing that's added, that's limestone. Calcium carbonate is added, which because of the heat breaks down into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide, so it produces a lot of calcium oxide. This calcium oxide goes and reacts with the sand and ends up turning into calcium silicate. And this thing is slag. It floats on the surface of the metal. Okay, so there are 3 things that are happening. One is heat being produced. Why? Because coke is burning. That is producing all the heat. How is the iron getting produced? The iron ore is reacting with the carbon, which is taking away the oxidants, and so you're left with iron. And the last thing is, how is the sand being removed? The sand is being removed because the lime, which is basic, reacts with the acidic sand. And you get slag. Slag floats on the bottom ke upar na, right at the bottom, there would be a lot of pure molten iron. And on top, there's going to be the surface of slag. Is this clear?
Yes.
और आपका iron जो है ना, उसमें एक impurity रह जाती है. What is that impurity? Like even after the whole process, one impurity is left. What is that one impurity? Coke रह जाती है. Not all of the coke burns. So your molten iron has a lot of coke in it. It has a lot of unreacted carbon in it. It's called steel, by the way. Iron plus carbon, that's steel. So there's only one impurity left, and that's carbon. So the question was, which element is added to remove the impurity? You add oxygen, you bubble oxygen through it. The oxygen reacts with the carbon and turns it into carbon dioxide, which escapes. So जो आपका solid carbon है ना, that escapes as a gas. तो इसका जो answer होगा, that's going to be oxygen. Is this clear, this part?
Yes.
Yes.
अच्छा, अब ये कि is used to galvanize iron. What is used to galvanize?
Zinc.
Okay, that's zinc. Sacrificial protection. Achha, what is the states? Is it soluble, insoluble? Magnesium carbonate. Again, look at the data sheet. Solubility of carbonates. All carbonates and phosphates are insoluble, except group 1. Group 1 is soluble, otherwise they're all insoluble. So this one is
Insoluble.
insoluble. It's a solid. HCl की state क्या होगी? What's the state of HCl?
Aqueous.
Aqueous.
Okay, that's aqueous. What's the state of water
Liquid.
or CO2?
Gas.
Gas.
अच्छा, Mg का क्या charge होता है group 2 में? Like, what is the charge of a group 2 ion? Actually, last time ना ये उसे remove impurity का कहा था ना, so I'll just point this out that he had been asking about name the element. So calcium carbonate also removes impurities, but you can't. That's not an element. ठीक है? तो वो oxygen था. Oxygen was the element because it removes the carbon. अच्छा चलो यहाँ पे आओ. Mg का क्या charge है? What's the charge on Mg?
2 plus.
ठीक है, that's 2 plus. What's the charge on Cl? That's group 7.
1 minus.
ठीक है, so both of them are 1 minus. Carbon dioxide, dot and cross diagram. So carbon is in group 4. So how many electrons would it share? How many bonds would it make?
It needs to make 2 pairs, so 4 in total.
So there's going to be a double bond on this side, and there's going to be a double bond on this side, right? I said, remember, structural formulas. Remember that carbon is in group 4. Group 4 needs 4 electrons. It's going to share 4 electrons. So remember, you can start off with the structural formula that carbon makes 2 bonds. Oxygen is in group 6. Group 6 makes 2 bonds. So how many electrons are left for carbon? Carbon is group 4. So are there any electrons that are left after the bonding is complete? Group 4 में कितने electrons होते हैं? It's got 4 electrons. 2 are shared here, 2 are shared here. Nothing is left. Oxygen is in group 6. So how many? Group 6 is going to make 2 bonds because it needs 2 electrons. So how many electrons are left?
Four.
So there are going to be 4 electrons that will be left. And this oxygen will also have 4 electrons that are going to be left. As if we've got a rate question, describe how the graph shows that the rate of the reaction decreases as time. So whenever you measure the rate of something, that is some change that is happening with respect to time. Okay, that is what you're going to do. In a reaction, the change could be anything. It could be a color change. If that color change happens very quickly, that is a fast reaction. It might be a change in mass. It might be a change in volume of gas. This is plotting the volume of gas. So Mirza, what is happening to the speed? Is it slowing down? How do you know that the rate of the reaction decreases?
Because the steepness decreases. Does it become flat now?
So the gradient decreases. Gradient जब बहुत ज़्यादा होता है, so that is an indication that it's like very fast. It's going up. So a lot of gas is being produced in a very small amount of time. And if the gradient is becoming flat, that means not a lot of gas is being produced at a particular time interval. So the reaction is slowing down. Explain in terms of why the rate of this reaction decreases. So why is it decreasing with respect to time? Why does any reaction slow down after some time?
Because the products are getting used up.
The reactants are getting used up.
Yeah, sorry, reactants.
So the reactant particles, they get used up. Like if you burn a match, why does it stop burning? Because it got used up. I mean, nothing's left. So when they get used up, so you have fewer collisions. Now the student repeats the experiment using powdered magnesium carbonate instead of large pieces. All conditions stay the same. On the grid, draw the line. So he's saying he just changes from large lumps, he's now using powdered magnesium carbonate. So would you have a faster reaction or slower reaction if it's powdered?
Faster
Faster.
reaction.
ग्राफ पे क्या फर्क पड़ेगा?
So
It would,
it will
its
be
gradient would
steeper.
increase.
ठीक है, so the gradient is going to, it's going to be a lot steeper. ठीक है, so but it's going to end up at the same point. ठीक है, except that it's going to be a lot faster. ठीक है, अगले पे आ जाओ. Okay, so that's 2 marks used instead of that's it. We've got a moles question. Calculate the number of moles of HCl in 25. So first thing, volume and concentration is given. What's the formula for calculating moles?
Moles equals concentration times volume.
So क्या होगा? Concentration is 0.4 times 25 divided by 1000, right? It should be dm cube. So how many moles do you get?
Uh, 0.01.
So 0.01. So you got 0.01 moles of HCl, right? So how many moles of CO2 will be produced? कितने होंगे CO2? It's like 2:1, right? Half होंगे ना, 2:1. Is that clear?
Yes.
So उसका half करो 0.005 moles. So I mean, you're going to show the working, which is 0.01 divided by 2, right? And then calculate the volume in cm cube. So how do you calculate? इसके moles पता लगे, half of that, right? 0.00. So what do? You multiply by 24 dm cube. Again, he's asking for cm cube. So multiply by 24,000. So what do you get for if you multiply by 24,000?
120.
120 है?
Yes.
Yes.
ठीक है, 120 होगा. Car engines में how is nitrogen formed in car engines? Nitrogen dioxide.
It reacts with the oxygen in the air.
See, air has nitrogen and oxygen. So in car engines, because of the very high temperature, it just burns up. So explain how. So you're going to write the equation. You're going to state that high temperatures provide the activation energy. Like, why don't they burn up in the air? Because it's N is a very strong triple bond, so there's no reaction. Nitrogen is very unreactive. What is the adverse effect of NO2?
Acid rain.
ठीक है, that's acid rain. दो gases होती हैं, SO2. Sulfur जो होता है ना, that's in volcanoes, fossil fuels, and it burns. And NO2 from the car engines. So they both produce acid rain. Now, nitrogen dioxide emissions can be reduced by adding an aqueous solution of urea to car exhaust gases. The heat of the exhaust gases breaks down the urea into simpler substances. Name the type of reaction occurs when a substance is heated. So what is the name of the reaction when something is heated and it breaks down? What do you call that
Decomposition.
reaction? That's decomposition. So that's decomposition. One molecule of urea breaks down to form one molecule of ammonia and one molecule of one other molecule. Complete the chemical equation to show the formula of the other molecule formed in the reaction. So one molecule of urea breaks down to form one molecule of ammonia. What is this other molecule, by the way? ये इसमें बना है और एक और चीज है. So what is this other thing?
Carbon dioxide.
Well, where do you get the other oxygen? Basically, जो कुछ इधर से बचा है ना, like minus NH3 out of it. So there's one N left, right? How many H's? There are 4 H's left. And what else is left? Sorry, not 4 H's. कितने H रह गए? 4 H's थे, 3 इधर चले गए, तो you're left with just 1 H, right? And 1 H, just 1 H, sorry. And you're left with C and O as well. So that's the molecule. Is that clear?
Yes.
अच्छा, फिर ये कि अमोनिया का टेस्ट क्या होता है? ये भी मैंने suppose
Litmus paper.
Ammonia is litmus paper, damp litmus paper. And it will turn what?
Red litmus paper, blue.
Red to blue. अच्छा, फिर balance the equation. So how would you balance this? H is the balance scheme, so you can start off with this. It's 24 H's, right? So what do I have over here?
Four. I mean, 8.
8?
Yes, because there's 24 H's.
Okay. And there are 12 oxygens on the right side, so
6.
that's going to be 6. And how many N2s then?
7.
6N or 8N? That's 14. Okay, so you get 7. So how does the equation show that NO2 is reduced? NO2 turns into what? It turns into N2, right? So how?
So it loses oxygen.
Okay, that's one way. It loses oxygen. Oxygen, loss of oxygen is reduction. But any other way apart from that?
Gain electrons.
Do you know what the oxidation state of N over here is? Do you know what the oxidation state of O is? What is the charge on O?
2 minus.
So N is, you don't know what N is. Oxygen, you know it's 2 minus, right? And there are 2 of them. The total charge of the molecule is 0. So that means N is plus 4. And over here, N is 0, it's neutral. So what happens is it gets reduced. Oxidation state also gets reduced. It goes from plus 4 to 0. Is that clear?
Yes.
But
Okay, so I have to go. Sorry.
Okay. I said reaction is state the meaning of the term redox. What does redox mean?
A reaction in which reduction and oxidation occur.
Oh, okay, reduction here. That's what is reduction?
Reduction is the loss of electrons. Let's say loss of oxygen.
It's the gain of electrons.
Okay.
Oxidation is the loss of electrons. Okay. The other time, make sure you can remember oil rig. You can always remember that oxidation is the loss of electrons, reduction is the gain of electrons. Now you've got 135 moles of urea is stored in the tank of a car. Calculate the mass in kg of this urea. So mass कैसे निकालते हैं? Moles multiplied by MR. जरा करो ना, ये क्या आ रहा है? कितना है जल्दी से कैलकुलेट करो क्या है। हिबा, अफान, आलिया।
सर जो मोलर मास है 120 ग्राम्स है।
12 plus 16 is 28. 120 तो नहीं बन रहा, कम नहीं बन रहा। NH2 कितना होता है? That's 14 16 times 2 32. So that is 32 plus 12 plus 16. 60 है ये, 60 है। 60 है ना? तो बताओ मोल्स, अभी आंसर भी बताओ ना क्या आ रहा है। 135 times 60, what do we get?
8,100।
ठीक है, that's going to be 8,100 grams, so 8.1 kg, right? Here, another oxide of nitrogen formed in car engines is NO. A catalytic converter removes NO by reacting it with a gas formed by incomplete combustion of the fuel. Two non-toxic gases are formed. Name the gas formed by incomplete combustion. से कौन सी gas बनती है? What is the gas that is formed by incomplete combustion?
कार्बन मोनोक्साइड।
ठीक है, that's carbon monoxide. तो कार्बन मोनोक्साइड और नाइट्रोजन के जो ऑक्साइड है, what two harmless gases will be produced by the catalytic converter? वो remove करते हैं इनको, so what does it turn it into?
नाइट्रोजन एंड कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड।
ठीक है, तो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड which is हम भी ब्रीथ आउट करते हैं कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड एंड नाइट्रोजन। कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड वैसे एक मसला होता है, व्हाट इज दैट प्रॉब्लम विद कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, व्हाट डज इट डू? कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड का एक प्रॉब्लम होता है which is that it causes global warming. It's not poisonous, it's not harmful, लेकिन it causes global warming. चलिए क्वेश्चन 4 भी कर लेते हैं। This is about electrolysis. Draw an arrow of the diagram to show the direction of electron flow. एक तरफ आयरन है, एक तरफ जिंक है। जिंक is the more reactive one. It loses electrons easily. That is, reactivity sees में zinc is higher up in the reactivity. So like KNaCmgAlZn, right? So it loses electrons easily. So since it loses electrons easily, the electrons are going to travel from zinc towards the other side. Because zinc is the one that's going to lose electrons and iron is the one, so the electrons will end up on the other side. Draw an arrow of the diagram. So we did that. Write the ionic equation for the reaction that occurs when zinc electrode dissolves. So zinc is the one that likes to lose electrons, so it will turn into zinc ions. So your solution, the zinc will start to dissolve. It will start turning into Zn2 plus. ठीक है, हमेशा याद रखना electrons flow from the more reactive electrode to the less reactive electrode. The reading on the voltmeter can be increased if either zinc or iron is replaced by another metal. Name a metal that can replace zinc. तो electrochemical cell का ना जो voltage है ना, the amount of electrons that is flowing, you can increase it if you have replace the zinc with a even more reactive metal. तो वो और ज्यादा electrons produce करेगा, ठीक है? The voltage will increase further. So so you can replace it with a more reactive. You can put magnesium in its place. ठीक है, clear है ये बात?
Yes.
और आयरन की जगह करना है लेस रिएक्टिव। ये वाला जो है ना उसको और भी लेस रिएक्टिव। सो एक बता दो कोई जो लेस रिएक्टिव हो कंपेयर टू आयरन।
Lead.
हाँ, लेड भी हो सकता है, सिल्वर कर लो, कॉपर कर लो, ठीक है। I said then name the reactants. Fuel cells used to generate electricity. Name the reactants in a fuel cell. Name the waste product of fuel cell. So fuel cell, it's something like this. That it's got. I say it's kind of either there's another more complete. Just a second, कहाँ पे है? Data sheet revision नजर आ रही है ये वाली. There's another data sheet which is for revision. So यहाँ पे there would be maybe there's fuel cell given. नहीं. So fuel cell, I'll explain what a fuel cell is. So fuel cell is it's got diagram मुख्तलिफ किस्मों के होंगे. So the one of the versions is this one, that it's got oxygen gas and it's got hydrogen gas coming in. And there's a platinum electrode and there's a platinum electrode over here as well. A solution winner, there's some acid or alkali that is added. Some dilute acid or alkali is added. Now what happens is that the oxygen reacts with the OH ions in the water, gains 4 electrons, ends up forming 2H2O. And the hydrogen reacts with 2 OH ions and ends up producing electrons. So the water molecules produce that ends up losing 2 electrons. So on one side, electrons are being produced, and on the other side, electrons are being used up. So जब आप wire को connect करोगे ना, maybe let's put a bulb over here. ठीक है, the bulb will light up because electrons will travel. They will travel from one side to the other side. And the only byproduct of the reaction that you have, अच्छा ये मैंने गलत बनी हुई equation. ये वाली equation. यहाँ पे ना 2 water molecules हैं, OH उधर है. हाँ. Now it's fine. I say anyway, so you have to remember this, that a fuel cell, and this is the only thing, you just have to memorize this. What happens is you have a reaction that is happening on this side and you have another reaction that's happening on the other side. One reaction produces electrons, and it could be any reaction. ठीक है, आपकी UPS की बैटरी भी इस तरह चलती है, Tesla car batteries, etc. Everything works like this. Normal job के cells होते हैं, they kind of also work in this way. And you have something else which gains electrons. So there's a reaction that gains electrons, that uses up electrons. तो एक साइड से electrons produce होंगे और दूसरी साइड से electrons वापस आएंगे. They would be gained. The electrodes are made out of an inert metal, which is a platinum electrode, and so that is put in place. So name the reactants in the fuel cell. So that's hydrogen and oxygen. The waste product, there's only one waste product, and that's water. Okay? They're not going to ask you anything. Not a lot of things are going to be asked about the fuel cell. Okay? That's about it. Okay? Beach mina, there's going to be dilute acid or alkali that's added. Or alkali that's added. And that's about it. Okay, clear?
Yes.
So electricity can be used to break down aqueous or molten ionic compounds. That's electrolysis. ठीक है, तो ये process क्या होता है जिसमें decomposition होती है? That's electrolysis. Explain why ionic compounds need to be aqueous, because only then will they have free moving ions. जब तक उनके पास free moving ions नहीं होंगे, electrolysis will not happen. Concentrated NaCl का electrolysis हो रहा है. So you've got cathode, you've got anode. Na+1 है, Cl-1 है, H+1 है और OH-1 है. तो cathode पे electrons gain होंगे. Who's going to gain electrons? Na+1 or H+1? वो क्या होता था reactor disease में जो जितना नीचे होता था, that is the one that gains electrons. So in this case, it's going to be H+1 that ends up gaining electrons. ठीक है, तो वो सीरीज थी दोनों साइड्स पे. इधर जो सबसे नीचे होगा reactor disease में. either someone is going to lose electrons, but if it's concentrated, then it's always Cl minus 1 that ends up losing electrons, forms Cl2 and ends up losing 2 electrons. तो इधर आपका चला गया H और यहाँ पे चला गया Cl. पीछे सोल्यूशन में क्या रह गया?
Sodium hydroxide.
NaOH solution में रह गया. So name 3 substances which are manufactured by passing. So that's these 3: hydrogen gas, Cl2 gas, and NaOH. Name a different substance formed when molten NaCl is used instead of. अब molten use करोगे तो उसमें क्या फर्क होगा? उसमें H और OH तो होगा नहीं. तो एक साइड पे Na होगा और दूसरी साइड पे Cl होगा. उसके अलावा तो कोई ऑप्शन ही नहीं होगा. ठीक है? Is this clear?
Yes.
बस ठीक है. So हमने इसके ना 3 क्वेश्चंस किए हैं. कहाँ पे मैंने ये लिखा था? एक सेकेंड. अच्छा सॉरी टॉप पे. अच्छा, so we did question 1. ठीक है, ये फिर अगली दफा कर लें. फिर कल हम फिर मेटल्स करते हैं. ठीक है, चले. ओके एवरीवन.
Okay, love.